I'm not surprised one bit that we are seeing these terrible numbers across the board. We've seen it with Disney and their stock price tanking, and now we are seeing it with Warner Bros. Discovery in that they're reporting that their gaming division saw a 41% decline, all because of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And this is should be of no surprise to anyone. You hired a consulting company, SBI, Sweet Baby Inc., in which they implemented and gave you their ideas, which were terrible, gender swapping Mr. Freeze. But it's not just that. Rocksteady has fallen from their reputation. From the Arkham series to this pile of crap, it's not just Sweet Baby Inc.'s ideas that made this game collapse within the player base and the reputation of the company. It's themselves with the gameplay and the terrible story. For sake, you're killing the original Batman that you played as within those Arkham series games. More and more just making people despise this game. And now if we go to Steam chart, you can see that the 24-hour peak for this game is only 221 players. That is absolutely insane, with only 157 players playing it at this moment in time. And the new update for the game, Season 2, released only a couple of weeks ago. To see these numbers is absolutely atrocious. And before we get into the article, I ask to please subscribe, like or dislike, it doesn't matter. It helps with engagement and it helps this channel, and I much appreciate it. Thank you. Warner Bros. Discovery reports game division saw a 41% decline in revenue as Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has lost over 98% of its player base. Warner Bros. Discovery continued to admit that the Sweet Baby Inc. influenced Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was a disaster for the company. In the company earnings release for its 2024 Q2 report, the company revealed its game division revenue declined 41%. It states games revenue declined 41% ex FX, primarily driven by the weak performance of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League this year compared to the strong performance of Hogwarts Legacy in the prior year. This is like comparing apples to rotten apples. You had Hogwarts Legacy, a game that absolutely broke records, making billions of dollars for Warner Bros., and ultimately received very well reviews by the player base. Of course, you had that whole fiasco that because of J.K. Rowling being involved with the game, or if she wasn't, that you were having all these people trying to boycott it, mainly the LGBTQ community, and that ultimately failed. To this Suicide Squad game that is absolutely abysmal across every division, across gameplay, across the story, and across the ideas that have been implemented when it comes to this live service game. Because at the end of the day, this is a live service game that is just dead in the waters, which is something that no studio wants when it comes to this, because you want to retain as much of the player base as possible. You want to keep them for around as long as you can, and in hopes of that, you're hoping that they would spend money on your game and bring in more revenue that way. But that hasn't been the case, as we see with the decline of a 41% drop off in revenue when it comes to their gaming sector. On top of the revelation that their revenue declined by 41%, the company's CFO Gunnar Wiedenfels commented during the company's earning call, while as we've called out last quarter, games are still struggling against last year's Hogwarts Legacy competition and a muted response to Suicide Squad this year. The company's CEO and president of global streaming and games, JB Perrett, also addressed the game on the call as well. He said, "The reality is we've had the unfortunate in the short period of 12 months, we went from having the record year that we had in 2023 with Hogwarts Legacy to unfortunately having the opposite side of that spectrum with Suicide Squad game." Once again, not a good look when you're having these statements coming from the CEO himself. And on top of that, they're not talking about the loss that this game caused, a $200 million plus loss for the developers and, of course, for Warner Bros. Absolutely disastrous of a launch and a disastrous of title of a game. Windelfels previously detailed in the company's 2024 Q1 earnings call that the company saw a 400 million plus year-over-year decline. He shared, starting with studios, the $400 million plus year-over-year decline in Q1 was primarily due to the very tough comp we faced in games against the success of Hogwarts Legacy last year in the first quarter. In conjunction with the disappointing Suicide Squad release this quarter, which we impaired, leading to a $200 million impact to EBITDA during the first quarter. And when you're accounting for that $200 million loss that Suicide Squad brought in, with Hogwarts Legacy, their revenues brought in about $2 billion, and that's not accounting for expenses. So I'm not sure what the profit is, but again, that is just 10% that was just scraped off of it because of this game's failure. And what has this taught studios? To not be involved with Sweet Baby Inc., period. To not implement their ideas or just simply not to collaborate with them in any way, shape, or form. Because that name alone is enough to deter the player base away and already bring in skepticism when it comes to a game's release. And with the majority of games being released by these companies that have been involved with Sweet Baby Inc., they are already dead on arrival. We saw with Flintlock, Capes, and there's probably going to be a lot more that are going to be implemented over these upcoming months. Anyways, with all that in mind, don't forget to share your thoughts below, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.